Hi, tonight's video is going to be a short one, 20 minutes. I've been asked to do this video over and over, and I hope it's going to be useful for those of you who follow. If you don't already follow the channel, we cover living in Italy and how that is. I've been living here for 20 years, and I like to help people who are looking into relocating or are just dreaming of maybe spending 3 months here regularly because they own a property or they dream of owning a property. So there's no hard and fast rule as to why people watch the channel. I'm happy that you're here. My name's Amanda. Let's get straight to it. But please like the video, and if you're watching for the second time or the third time, why don't you just subscribe? You know you want to. And it helps the channel, and share it with your friends who you know might be interested. And just your simple like or your subscribing, or especially a comment if you enjoyed it or you have a question for me, helps the channel a lot. Those are the things you can do. This is free content. I put it out to be helpful to people who perhaps can't afford to go to an immigration lawyer, or may not need to go to an immigration lawyer, or just want to find out some more information from somebody who lives here. Okay, so let's get right to it. The title of tonight's video is What I Wish I Knew About Living in Italy Before I Came Here. So 10 things, I have 10 fingers, that I wish I knew, or that you'll wish you knew before you came to Italy. Okay, I'm going to start with number one. Number one is, and remember, I came to Italy in 2002. It was a very different Italy. It was a very different world. It was quite soon after September the 11th, which changed the whole world view, changed how security works, changed how immigration works. A whole lot of things changed. But needless to say, there are still some things that hold true even today. And in my many chats with people who've wanted to come here and have asked me to help them, these things always come up. So pay attention. You might want to get a pencil and paper and a pen and paper and just jot down these 10 things, because they'll come up again and again and again. And you may say, oh, well, that's not my case, I'll just ignore that. I ignored all of these things, and I had to trip over them again and again and again and again and again. I might run out of battery. That's a major problem. So anyway, let's try and see if we can get there. So number one is that you imagine that Italy's there, you've fallen in love with it, you're coming here on holiday, and oh gosh, it's fantastic. And you make some vague inquiries as to which neighborhood you'd love to live in Rome, or you love the fashion era of Milan and you dream of living in the Brera, the art district of Milan, and you say to yourself, it's all going to be fine. And you make some cursory inquiries about renting and how that would be. And okay, so you go home and you're brimming with excitement, and you're so excited. The number one thing I knew, and bear in mind, when I came here, there was no Airbnb. Airbnb has made it 50 times harder to get any kind of rental. Was that as a tourist, you're not going to be paying the rents that your Italian friends, if you had any, or people who advised you are paying. You're not going to get a long-term contract. You're just not going to get it. So that's the first thing I wish I knew, that whatever inquiries I made about rent or affordability or how much it would cost me to stay here was completely irrelevant. And that was even 20 years ago. It's 50 times more complicated now. So that's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Be so realistic about what it's going to cost you to rent, to live, to do all the things you need to do. Yes, don't be confused because there's free medical. I'll get to that, number 4. Because maybe you've come from the States and you just feel you can't go on anymore because the medical situation in America can be quite complicated if you're not covered by your employer and maybe you can't afford it. But don't imagine that you're just going to come here and fall into a situation and everything's going to be covered. It's not. So number 2, when you've covered the accommodation and the cost of living, you have to remember that you're always going to be a tourist. I have literally been living here for 20 years. I speak fluent Italian. I've spoken fluent Italian for at least 15 years. I have tons of Italian friends. I have done everything that it's possible to do in Italy. For example, doing my first permesso di soggiorno right in the early days, getting a carta d'identità, getting a tax number, paying tax, working for an employer full-time in a proper Italian contract. I've done all of these things. I've applied for citizenship here. I've literally done every piece of paper that it's humanly possible to do in Italy, except a death certificate. I haven't done that yet. But everything else, I've done. Okay? I've been married in Italy. I've been divorced in Italy. I have literally done every piece of bureaucracy that is possible to do. And that's why I do these posts, because I could be talking about tripsing through the lemon orchards down in the Amalfi Coast. I could be talking about wine. I could be talking lots of things. But I'm doing this because I think it's useful. And there are groups forming right now as we speak on Facebook with women. The groups grow by 500 in a week, 500 new people who join the group, all dreaming of Italy. Everyone's dreaming of coming to Italy. The problem is these women then start squabbling among themselves about who could, who couldn't, and people get quite uppity when it comes to their rights. So I say again, and I've said this before, I am simply the piano player. Please don't shoot me. I'm simply telling you what I know. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you. If you find a way to do this in an easier way, or your experience is different, that's perfectly fine. You're fully entitled to your opinion. And perhaps you won't find this useful, but I'm here because I know how many people have left Italy in tears with their dreams broken, and I did everything I could to help them, and it still wasn't enough because they didn't do their homework before they came. So the post. Number 3, once you realize that you're always going to be on the outside, that yes, you may have friends, but you're not going to be an Italian, you're not going to think like an Italian, and you might fit in, you may get married, you may come here married to an Italian, but you're always going to be slightly over there, and you need to get okay with that. You need to develop a thicker skin. So one of the things I wish I'd known, even from those early days where Italy was quite a romantic place, the only other person that you could speak to who'd been to Italy, it really was under the Tuscan sun. Francis Mays was in Cortona. I had my first working job in Cortona. They were different days. They were all romantic. Nobody knew what the regulations were. Nobody really cared. Now it's different. I mean, now you need tons of pieces of paper, and you can't just come here without the right tax information. The third thing I'm going to tell you. It may not be tax advantageous for you, so I suggest you spend every cent you have, extra to what you've put aside to come to Italy, to research whether it's tax doable for you. I say tax doable because there are cheaper places in Europe. France is one of them, by the way, that are easier and maybe a little bit more tax friendly. I'm not saying that you won't pay tax in France and Portugal, whichever you're looking at. I've lived in Portugal, I've lived in Switzerland, so you can always drop me an email and I can maybe point you in the right direction. I mentioned I'm going to keep this at 20 minutes, so I can't do much in between. Let's keep on track. So number 3, research if tax friendly is what you're looking for. There is the 7%. You'll hear the 7% rules thrown about. These are for areas that are undeveloped, that don't have services, that they're looking to repopulate because they've been depopulated because the young people and the people who wanted careers have left those towns and villages in Italy, and they've gone to Milan or Rome or whatever. So please do your research. Do you want to be halfway up a mountain? Do you want to be in an area where as you get older you'll feel lonely and you'll need a car and you'll need a license? If you're American, you'll have to do an Italian license so that you can visit friends or whatever. Please do your research. It's lovely if you're watching, a lovely sort of holiday in Rome sort of movie from the romantic area, and you're driving on a lovely little car with an open top through the vineyards in Tuscany or around Rome. What could be more romantic? It's There's nothing more romantic than that. I was susceptible to the same dream. The fact is that it's going to be difficult to own a car, buy a car, license a car, license yourself, get all your pieces of paper in a row, get all your ducks in a row. So the driving aspect, the tax aspect, these two things kill most people's dreams. Okay, just do your research. As I said, you can send me an email. I'll leave it down in the description box. Right, we're on number 4. So number 4 is, okay, you've done your research about the tax, the area you want to live in. You have enough money. Another thing, do you have enough money to come here? Please do your research. It may be much better for you to come and spend 3-month holidays here inside the Schengen 90 days and just live wherever you're living now, or maybe live somewhere else and just come and explore Italy where you want. I say this because lots of people fall foul of this, and I've covered this in my other videos. You can go watch them. One of the things people do is they buy a house in Italy, they fall in love, they buy the house, they start renovating, buying tiles, they're watching other YouTube videos of people renovating houses. I love watching renovating videos. I've renovated my own house in Italy, an old house, so I know that fever, I know what it feels like. But, I say but, it doesn't give you any extra right to be resident on a permanent basis in Italy. So owning a home, owning an Italian home, doesn't in and of itself give you any rights to residence, right? Okay, lots of people don't understand this or don't listen when they're told, and they just assume, I'm going to be able to live in Italy. Well, you can't. You cannot live in Italy unless you have a permit, which is either that you fall into one of the brackets, and the brackets are, I'm not going to cover them here because this post isn't about that. You can go and look in my rights video. I'll hook it up upstairs. So you either come here on an elective visa, and that's difficult, and you need all the preliminaries in your country before you even come here. But let's say you've done all your research, everything's great, all the boxes are ticked, and you get here and you own your own home and you don't have to worry about anything. What is the other thing that you'll wish you knew before you came? Is that, yeah, it's going to take you a long while to be doing anything unless you have Italian language skills. That means that if you have to go to the comune, and you will immediately, if you have to go to the pharmacy, and you will, whatever you have to do, you eventually have to get a doctor, obviously. If, let's say you manage to get all the boxes ticked and you get on the health service and you need to make an appointment for an x-ray or I don't know, any old thing, you're not going to be able to do it in English. People often say to me, but surely they can speak some English. Well, that's a possibility, but there's also another greater possibility that the person you're going to find on the desk either can't speak any English, can speak very poor English, which, believe me, you don't want because the confusion that it could cause, or doesn't want to speak English to you, because if you're living here, you better learn the language. Lots of people say, you know, this is a bit cruel, this is a bit nasty, surely they can speak English to me. Maybe you're going to get lucky, maybe somebody will. Maybe you'll meet somebody who can do a smattering, or another tip, you might find a young person in the street who studied English at school, and at least they can find their way. But when you're dealing with legal stuff and your health rights and the information that you're transmitting between doctors or whatever it is that you're doing, you don't want misunderstandings, trust me, because they can take years to unravel. And also the people are going to get exasperated on the desk who's serving you. Language skills. You won't need basic Italian. You're going to need to be good soon. So you need to learn it on the street, which means you're going to be socializing with Italians, and you can't just hang out in expat groups. So people are always on about, oh, all these lovely expat groups. I joined a group some months ago, just forgot about it. I don't know. I think they invited me. I can't remember. And it has literally grown by 600. And there are just thousands of people giving information that's completely wrong. And you know what? If I look at my friends in Italy after 20 years, the expats have come and gone. Most of them, I don't call myself an expat, don't call themselves expats. They've either become local or they've gone back to where they came from. So hanging out in expat groups will get you a lot of probably misleading information, but you may find friends there, but that won't be enough. It will not be enough for you just to have expat friends. It helps in the beginning. Trust me, when you don't have any language skills and you can't go and have a cappuccino with the locals because you wouldn't know what to say to them, and they'll feel odd. Maybe you're lucky. Maybe you'll find someone who wants to do a language exchange, and that's great. I encourage it. Okay, I think we're on number 6. So number 6 is that you get all your ducks, everything's lovely, and then you get ill, and you're in Italy and you get ill. Now I can tell you that the worst situation to be in is when you're ill, whether it's really ill or minorly ill. You're away from your family, you're away from everything that's familiar, and this is where real culture shock comes in, that you will want to be able to be understood. And unfortunately, the Italian university system does not force doctors to have an English qualification before they enter medical school. Other things do, engineering, economics, but for some reason, probably because there's a shortage of people who want to study medicine or can study medicine, they do not require English skills. So I can tell you, I have had moments where I've had a knee replacement in Italy. I've had, luckily not many other I had a major leg operation before the knee replacement, and there was no English, and there was zero English, even among the specialists who'd worked in London, because when they were struggling in London to speak English, they came back to Italy. They don't want to talk English to you. They don't want to be responsible for some misunderstanding, and also the colleagues under them and around them, they're going to feel like odds pay parts if you wobbling on in English to their superior and they feel left out. So it's going to be a shock. So you need to be prepared. You need to develop a hard skin that if you either go back to where you came from for your medical treatment, that's an option, and it's a doable option for people who've put aside money. But for some people, you have to deal with the pronto soccorso, which is the emergency services, right? You have to do that. So you need to be prepared. You need to write down stuff that you could say, phrases that you could respond to, and you just need to be prepared so that you don't go into complete culture shock and land up as this quivering wreck. And believe me, it's strange. Fear comes out as anger when you're really afraid and your back's against the wall and your family aren't here and you've got to fight with medical. By the way, these people are incredibly busy. The Italian health service might be good, but it's, you have to wait your turn. There's 40 other people needing to get in before you who may be more urgent than you, and it's not going to always go smoothly. Sometimes it does, sometimes it really doesn't, and you might find yourself 8 hours in casualty fighting for somebody to please listen to you because you don't know what to do, you haven't had any water, and you've been there for 8 hours and you have no clue how to get these people to hurry up. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Number 7. Let's come back to feeling wanted, Italian friends. You will die for stuff that you grew up with. You will just prepare to ask your friends to send you a care package or your family regularly. Italian food is the best. It's the best. I can testify to it. I eat Italian, I cook Italian. We all rave about Italian pizza, pasta, the beautiful risotto, the gorgeous fresh produce. I love it. I'm constantly filming fresh produce wherever I go, every market I go to, every place I go. I'm in love with it, and you're going to be in love with it. We all love it. But you will find yourself after a year or two craving a Mars bar, craving, I don't know, whatever it is that turns you on, Reese's peanut cups or whatever they are. You need to get a care package so that you somehow don't derail yourself. Might be silly, but it works. It helps the culture shock. I think we're number 8. Number 8, try to always, at the end of the day, say to yourself, I was fine before I came. I'm going to be fine. I have to go through all these processes and then I'm going to be okay. Okay? you have to tell yourself, and I wish I'd known this when I first came, because there were moments when I just thought, no, this is too much. I did that, but I can't do this. I've got to go. Another thing is that once you settle in and once you realize that you have got to make yourself part of Italians' emotional lives. Italians don't care about you, and of course they don't. They've got their own lives, their own families, and they don't have to struggle to make themselves understood. Until you emotionally link with an Italians, you may marry one, maybe your boyfriend is Italian. What I'm going to say to you is, please, and I say this often to people who ask me, if you are engaged to an Italian or you're married to an Italian, get them to go with you to the Comune. Get them to go with you. It is their responsibility. If they want your life to be livable in Italy and pleasurable in Italy, they should go with you to the Comune. They should definitely go with you when you need to fill in forms. They could perhaps even help you when you have a specialist visit. The specialist will be more than happy for them to join you and to sit in on the meeting. There's no problem. But feeling like you don't understand and feeling that people are talking over you and around you and you don't understand, it's very isolating. It's not good. So please, the advice is get your Italian partner. If you don't have Italian husband, don't have an Italian family, friend, cousin, get a friend to go with you. Simply the presence of another Italian will take the tone down and make the person who's supposed to be helping you feel comfortable. Because I know you think it's all about you, but they probably don't feel comfortable and they don't have the confidence to not make a mistake on the form they're doing for you. Think of it that way. Okay. And the last one before I wrap up, because I promised this would be 20 minutes, is that you have to keep going back to your dream. Keep going back to your dream. You can say, I'm not forced to stay here. I could go back to wherever I came from, but I can make this work. And one of the things that make it work is getting a thicker skin. Don't take things personally, and get your ducks in a row. Ask people to help you. And I think many people feel like an idiot. They feel isolated. The schooling here has to be studied. If you're coming with your children, please study the differences between the schooling systems. It's huge. It's the last one I'm going to do, but it's huge and it derails lots of people. Also, if you have a qualification where you're coming from, you could be a vet, you could be a doctor, you could be a dentist. It's virtually impossible to just slot into the Italian system and get a job. You're going to have to do an equivalency program. And in some cases, I know this because I have two friends who are dentists from the States and also from UK. They virtually had to rewrite their medical exams to be qualified here to work. So don't imagine it's transferable. I have taught English with various veterinary people, veterinary specialists who landed up teaching English, and various doctors. Please do your research before you think you can just find a job here. It's damn difficult, let me tell you. So anyway, on that happy note, still love Italy. I'm still living here. Drop me a comment. Let me know. See you on the next one. I really look forward. Thank you for watching this evening. And drop me a comment down there and go like the video right now. I'll see you next time from Italy. Amanda. And please subscribe if you haven't. And drop me any question you might have that I haven't covered. I'll do it on the next one. See you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye.